I've started streaming.
Started streaming?
Is it going? I guess it's going.
Hey, your guess is probably actually better than mine.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back to iRacing on Run Button.
Welcome back to iRacing on Run Button.
You know, Keith, I never mentioned
Welcome back to iRacing on Run Button.
I never mentioned the most dramatic change I made in my room. I would say more dramatic than the racing wheel to accommodate the sim racing thing, which is that I took the wheels off my off my chair.
Nice.
I bought those feet. Like I thought to myself, I thought a thought I'd never had before, which is, do they make rubber feet that can go in the place of wheels on an office chair? Like if you're a psycho who just wants rubber feet. And of course they do.
No, not if you're a psycho.
What?
I'll tell you who it's for. It's for people like me who have a carpet that is the correct size carpet for your room. And so it extends back about 3 feet from the wall. And so you've got or no, more than 3 feet.
Just get a pad. Anyway, just get a flat.
No, because the floor is also horrifically uneven. So even if I had a pad, then the wheels just get stuck in divots, and the positions that the wheels get stuck in are like less comfortable than like not having the. It's like it's like they're stuck, so just sit where they're stuck in. It's like no, because it's actually not comfortable there.
You know what the real tragedy of it was, though, is that the wheels I took off this chair, they weren't just the shitty wheels that came with the chair. I finally shelled out only like $20. It was incredible. Only $20 for these like soft rubber rollerblade looking wheels.
Too. Hey, I got those too. You're speaking to the chair guy.
They don't scratch the hardwood floor.
No.
No, these ones don't. They really don't.
No, I'm saying I'm agreeing. Yeah, no, they don't.
Okay. The only downside was that the floor on my house is just slightly slanted. And so they roll so well, I would just naturally kind of slide backwards.
Yeah.
And also when I started racing,
these are for people who have real needs for specific things.
Sure. When I started doing the sim racing, it was extra hard because like every time I would have to like brake, I would like push myself back. And so I would have to like grip onto the steering wheel and like brake at the same time. And it was a whole mess.
Yeah, that's a mess.
But luckily I went online.
Clean that mess up.
I went online, I bought rubber feet that I was lied to about being rubber, and they're actually hard plastic. But that's okay, because
Could it be hard rubber?
I got a plastic mat for the floor. No, they're just fucking plastic.
Can I just say that rubber is so much better than plastic? Fuck plastic. Rubber kicks ass.
Thank you so much.
Fuck plastic. Rubber is where it's at.
I thought you were going to go off on people lying about their products that they're selling on Amazon.
But no, that's been happening for millennia. Yeah. It'll happen for millennia more unless we all die.
What? Well,
right. It's a big if. It is a non-trivial unless.
So something I didn't mention about iRacing before, and maybe it helps make more sense about how well you have to get to know the tracks in this game.
This is gonna be good.
There's only one track per week in each of these series. So we just it's a new week now, so all the tracks have turned over. So we got a new track down in the Miata series, and there's a Ferrari series here. This Ferrari 296 is the same car that's in the Rainmaster series, and both of those are on the track at Laguna Seca, the one that the Miatas were on last week. Right. So what I've been trying to do is take my knowledge of the track from last week and try to drive this Ferrari car on here.
Is this the Ferrari? You had was it a BM or Mercedes? It was some German car.
A Porsche.
A Porsche.
Yeah.
That's also German, right?
I think. I don't ask me. If it's not German, it's probably like Austrian, which is like the same thing.
It's German.
Same thing.
Whoa. Hold on.
Whoa, I don't think that's that controversial. What? Don't,
Germans are gonna be
whoa,
pissed.
sorry.
Okay.
Do you
Now,
know
the
there's
big
parts of
question is,
Italy that are basically Germany? There's like parts of Italy where just like everyone's German and they speak German. Isn't that weird?
yeah, it's because Italy is fake. It's one of the fakest countries in Europe.
Whoa, even faker than Belgium? Come on.
Hey, Belgium's not that fake.
Whoa, sorry everybody. We're just having fun here.
Italy has, I think, famously the most recent, like,
Oh, yeah.
big,
I'm not.
Italian unification state effort to
Yeah,
make
no.
everybody believe that there's a one thing called Italy.
Yeah, I'm not confused about why
This is
it's
not
the case.
unique.
I was just surprised to hear about it.
This is not unique to Italy. It's just unique that it happened so recently. Although go to Eastern
Greece
Europe,
is like another one of
and
those.
who even knows what's going on over there? Probably they do, but
Greece is like one of those where like the modern Greek identity is like reaches back thousands of years, but it was also like recently constructed.
yeah, China's a lot like this. Like they've got thousands and thousands of years of history, but also it's a state that's formed and reformed so many times.
Yeah.
Here's what the question burning on
So
everyone's
glad we
lips.
could get directly into geopolitics on the iRacing.
The question
stream.
burning on everybody's lips, Kyle. They want you to weigh in on Lance Stroll at the center of fresh F1 criticism for rival driver with penalty system questioned. F1 News Roundup.
Oh
Can we talk
my
about
god!
this?
I am so sorry that I am actually a race behind in the current season, so I actually don't know what this
Wow.
is. But
Wow, do you not want me to spoil you?
I'll be for the sake of the stream, of course. I'll be spoiled, so you can let me know.
It's
what
not
you know
okay.
about
So
this.
it's F1. So it's a controversy in the way that it's like a race etiquette thing. It seemed kind of trivial to me watching it, but basically, this guy who I've never heard. I don't know anything about F1, by the way. I just happened to see this yesterday.
I know all about
on a
Lance
video.
Stroll.
Lance Stroll.
He's
Basically, what it seems like.
the Nepo baby of F1.
Oh, he's the Nepo baby of
He's
F1.
what they call a pay driver, which is that the reason he's on the team is because his daddy is a billionaire who donates all his money to the team. Yes.
Okay, so this has painted this in a new light. It hasn't changed the details, but it's put a
Lance
fresh
Stroll
coat of
is a
paint on
decent
there.
driver. To his credit, he's not the. There's been some in recent years some way worse pay drivers.
So Lance Stroll is coming up behind two cars and seems to be ready to brake to make a turn. They're on the outside edge of this turn, all three cars. And what it seems like is as he's looking to turn, he accelerates while the cars in front of him are still slowing down. And so he crashes up underneath the car in front of him, pushes that car into the car in front of that car. And one of those two cars that he hits, I think the middle car, the one directly in front of him, it ends up ruining his race. His car can't keep driving.
I keep seeing a YouTube thumbnail of Danny Ricciardo saying "fuck that guy."
Yeah, I think Danny Ricciardo was the
guy whose race was ruined.
The guy whose race was ruined.
Yeah.
Although that sort of also implies that he's the front one because it seemed like he didn't know what happened, which would make more sense if it was someone two cars behind him that caused the issue. But anyway, the big thing seems to be that he was like, yeah, I don't know, just one of those weird racing things. And then it was just he called it the concertina effect, which you look at it, you know exactly what he means. But that's not really what happened. It just looks like he kept going and was too close to the cars in front of him.
Yeah.
And he crashed right into them. And it was not a thing where someone unexpectedly slammed on their brakes and he didn't have time to swerve out of the way. Of course, being from Massachusetts, we know what happens when you are the rear-ending driver in a collision. You're at fault. That is your fault.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been so close. Should have been paying closer attention.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, of course, that cars bunch up or whatever, but cars bunch up all the time without the cars driving underneath the other cars.
Yeah. Honestly, it seemed to me, I was like, this guy's got ADHD. He forgot that he was supposed to be braking and was like, I gotta make this turn, and then crashed right into the big thing seems to be that he was very ungracious about his obvious error.
That sucks.
Yeah. Which, to me, screams Nepo baby.
Yeah.
Of course the Nepo baby would be the one to go, and absolutely not my fault. I hit a car that caused that car to hit another car. Not me. Didn't do it.
What's
just one of those weird things. Just one of those weird things.
Just, it's just one of those things that happens.
It's a direct quote, by the way. One of those weird racing things.
It's just one of those weird racing things.
Which also, by the way, again, the Nepo baby thing does seem extremely in an inelegant way of freight. Like, it just seems like not an expert's way of describing what happened.
You're right.
One of those weird, just one of those weird racing things. What are they called?
I mean, to be fair, these cars do go 200 miles an hour, so they don't have a ton of reaction time.
They were not going very fast. When this happened.
All right.
They were super slow going around a tight turn.
Speaking of going around a tight turn.
On the outside edge of the
tight turn. Oh no! We hated that.
Yeah, you really fucked that up.
What's one of the funniest things about what's going on with Lance Stroll right now is that his teammate is the oldest guy. Like, maybe he's had like the longest F1 career ever or something. It's Fernando Alonso. He's only like 43, but he's like the oldest guy by far in the league right now, and he is like determined to make every moment a soap opera about like starring him. So he'll like come in seventh and be like, I did what I could with the car, but I just drove the race of my life or something like that.
That's very fun.
Shift
really
F1
fun.
is always quoting him like this one time where like, he passes his teammate and he's like...
At Drew Scanlon's podcast?
Yeah, Drew Scanlon's podcast and Rob Zachney, Danny O'Dwyer. And he like passes his teammate or something, maybe under team orders, and then he says to his teammate over the radio, like, defend like a lion. And this guy's hilarious, and he is Lance Stroll's teammate, and he talks about how like Lance Stroll is like a son to him, and he feels like he's taken him under his wing, and all this stuff, and it's hilarious because it's like, does he really believe this, or is he just sucking up to Lance Stroll's dad? Like, what is the 5D chess that Alonso is playing right now? It's so funny.
Maybe he's just a dramatic guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just get along because they're both, dramatic Nepo babies or something, I don't know. Wow! See, this is what I'm trying to figure out with this Ferrari that I'm driving here, is that, like, it's different from the Miata because it's, like, the Miata slides around a lot, and this thing is kind of, like, stuck to the road, but it does that understeer thing where just, like, I'm going too fast and the car doesn't really turn, and then I'm just kind of driving off the road.
Yeah. So go slower, right?
Yeah.
It is funny, it does sort of, like, okay.
Look, Mom, no line.
It reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, cool.
And let me explain to you what I mean.
Okay.
Do you remember how you feel about Sonic Rush?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel about Sonic Rush like it's really close to being a great Sonic game, but just too often you're going too fast and you can't see what's coming quickly enough, and you feel kind of out of control, and then you end up hitting a wall.
And what you've said about Sonic Rush is that it sort of misunderstands that Sonic isn't actually about going that fast.
Exactly.
It's about, like, negotiating these areas of speed with these areas of having to slow down immensely in order to do some platforming stuff.
Right.
And that's sort of the thing, is in my head, racing is all about going so fast and being like, who can drive their car the fastest? But it's not about that. It's really,
you have to slow down at every corner.
It's the exact right. And it kind of is like, well, what's the point of you get these cars that are so fucking fast, but it's
Whoa!
not really about hitting your top speed and
they're-
going top speed.
Oh,
It's
but
not
isn't
Forza.
it though? It is Forza.
It's not Forza.
No, well, not
Sorry,
Forza Horizon.
Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. The only Forza I play is Forza Horizon. It's not Forza Horizon where it's like it's about like who
We're gonna catch
managed
this
to
person,
go
though. We're catching this
170
person.
miles an hour for the most amount of time. It's really about
Oh no,
like,
this person's on my side.
who did the most efficient turn and had the best acceleration coming out of their deceleration.
Yeah, totally. It's all about like learning the best.
But
Learning the
want that
best line,
breakneck
where to get your
speed.
acceleration, where to get your deceleration.
I want that breakneck speed. And maybe what that means is I need the Daytona 500. Just go in a big circle.
You need Talladega Super Speedway.
Sure.
Which is a track, I guess, currently criticized for being so fast it's dangerous nowadays because the cars are too fast.
Oh, is racing dangerous? Shit.
It turns out racing is dangerous.
Turns out racing is dangerous. I do sort of feel like
it can be less dangerous though without a ton of compromises.
Here's the thing. Here's what it is really. Is once you remove the I would say best case scenario, you remove the profit motive from sports. Second best case scenario, you at least give direct player ownership over teams and the league structure. And then let them decide what is the way to approach how safe things should be. Because once it's like, well, you know, I'm a guy and I basically own these racers, or I basically own these football players, and their desire for safety directly butts up against my desire for making more money off of them.
Right.
Then none of the decisions that they make are like, you know, these are not pure safety-based decisions. So there's no way of knowing like what decisions would someone make on safety in racing if they were pure self-motivated safety-based decisions. And I'm interested in what that looks like.
Well, what's interesting about racing is that kind of by definition
finally about racing.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
What's funny is that the racers kind of by definition don't value their own safety enough. Because,
no, I agree.
You know,
I agree.
And so it's been interesting that like in the last 10, 15 years, they introduced this like kind of safety roll cage thing over the F1 cars called the Halo. That's just like a bar ring that goes around their head. And a lot of the drivers were really against it. Like, I don't think we need this. Yeah. This is too much. And a lot of those drivers now wouldn't have heads anymore if it wasn't for that roll cage. And they don't think that way anymore, you know?
This reminds me of there was a famous harness that NASCAR tried to implement, or someone tried to sell to NASCAR, and like went to people like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and was like, "Please wear this safety harness," and they were like, "It restricts my mobility too much. I hate it. I want to die instead." And there's footage I've seen of, I believe it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying like, well, I just won't crash. And it's like, oh, you're fucked in the head. Your brain cells have been suffocated by the heat in the cockpit.
Yeah, there's F1 was like super unsafe, in the 50s and 60s and maybe through the 70s. Like there's one guy, there's a clip of him, saying, the reason I came to this team is because on this team with this engineer, I'll either be world champion or I'll die. And then he died,
Wow.
Wow. And Ferrari, in the 60s, one of Ferrari's biggest critics was the Pope. Because he was like, they were losing like more drivers per year than they had on the team. Like it's like a two-man team and they were losing like 2.5 drivers a year for a couple years. That's
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was totally psychotic, and the Pope was like, "This is demonic.
Ferrari
you
has to stop killing people."
Yeah, seriously.
That really colors the wasn't there a Ferrari versus something movie that just came out? What was that?
There
What was that
was,
movie?
well, Ford versus Ferrari came
Ford
out
versus
like
Ferrari,
a
yeah.
lot of years ago, but Ferrari starring Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari did just come out in the last year or two. But I didn't see it. But yeah, Enzo Ferrari was a fucking a totally crazy guy that literally cared more about his cars than his drivers, like in the sense that when the driver would die in the crash and the car would get destroyed, he would literally mourn the car like it was the driver that had died. And he would have to, like, it really seemed like he would have to pretend to also mourn the driver. Like, oh, yeah, them too.
Them too.
Yeah.
But that car, I mean,
that car, though.
Come on.
You know,
look at that.
He has these amazing quotes like, "Will God ever forgive me for making such fast race cars?" You know, it's unbelievable.
No, sorry, you're in hell.
Yeah, no.
You actually went to hell for that.
Yeah, if hell exists, Enzo Ferrari is in it. Sorry.
This is the thing. This is why, like, the genius is such a tantalizing figure in fiction and nonfiction, just like narrative in life. You know, it's so difficult to let go of this idea of, like, a guy who is like a man specifically a man
alone.
who is like,
that's definitely a man.
I am driven to madness to build these cars, the greatest cars. Yes, they kill people, fine, but just, oh my God, look at it.
Oh my God, these cars.
It's beautiful and fast, and I have to do it. Or, like, I mean, it's fun. It is funny, but it really is, you know, just like the idea.
Yeah.
You know,
that really does kind of embody a lot
genius.
of these car people.
What's that?
That idea really does embody a lot of these race car people.
Yeah, but if that is really like the genius archetype is like someone who is driven to madness for their one thing. You almost like have to be like being a genius is almost like being forced into an ideological position that is fundamentally incorrect, but pursuing it to the detriment of your own sanity / the physical health of the people around.
It's like a real respect the hustle kind of thing.
It is it's like I don't know who's another genius, like Steve Jobs is another person like this,
yeah,
where it's just like, you know, maybe one of this century's most famous geniuses, where it's like clearly a madman that everybody hated, driven to madness to create the most usable products of all time.
I have to perfect this user experience.
I mean, listen, you gotta laugh, but you know, you got people fucking jumping out of factory windows in China to build these phones
This guy
so that
made
Steve
good
Jobs
phones.
can go. So Steve Jobs can tap on a screen in front of an audience of, you know, 2,000 people or whatever.
I mean, they had to put nets on the Foxconn factories, but they made good phones.
But they made, not only did they made good phones, they taught your grandma how to use technology.
My grandma wouldn't play Words with Friends without Steve Jobs.
Without Steve Jobs, our grandma wouldn't be playing 50 games of Word with Friends every day.
She wouldn't have done 968 24-piece jigsaw puzzles on her iPad.
Can I tell you this? Can I tell you this about her grandma?
What?
Maybe she can play 50 games of Word with Friends a day, but she sure as shit can't beat me in Scrabble.
Oh, really?
The last 2 times we went over there.
Oh, in Scrabble. Okay.
In real Scrabble.
Okay,
yes.
real Scrabble.
She just gets. I think that she's been poisoned by Words with Friends, and now is so put off by every aspect of actually playing real Scrabble.
Oh, no.
Like,
I'm in a real race.
Oh no.
Well, it's on now, everyone.
She's like so thrown off by having to count her own points. Is
Oh.
forgetting how she's old, so maybe this is why she's forgetting
Whomst
how to like
Whomst.
how you tally things. Like it's like, wait, so you don't get a triple word score if you add an S to a word that was on a triple word score?
Right,
And it's
yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
grandma, that's never been true. It's not
Well,
true in Words
yeah.
with Friends either. But it just tells you the points, so you can just not
Yeah.
care about it. And then
my
also
my
just
thing
like,
is being able to just get a million tries to get a word that's accepted instead
right,
of having
yes, yeah,
to
that's, and you can
risk
feel
anything.
that coming off
Yeah.
of her,
Yeah.
the stink of being able to try out a million words, because she's just like looking at her letters, she's just like, I don't know. And just she'll just like put down like ox, and it's like, grandma, I know that you like can put these words together. Stop. But she's just like can't do the board anymore. Has to be able to put it on the digital screen.
I was saying to her a couple days ago that I said that's why I don't like Words with Friends, is that you get infinite tries at getting a correct word or something, and she was like, oh, that's what I like about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's too easy.
It's too
like,
easy.
It's way too easy. Yeah.
And also,
and it's so easy to cheat that you can never
right.
You can never
have to
trust
get the
that the
perfect
other
word
person
every
isn't
time.
cheating. Yeah.
Let's pass this person and not run off the road. Shit. It didn't happen like that.
Sora of Heart says about Steve Jobs, he wasn't even good at tech stuff. He just somehow was good at selling his products. Yeah, I mean,
sure.
Where was it that he worked with Wozniak? He
Atari.
he knew some Atari. He knew some tech stuff. But who knows? It's, by all accounts, it seems he was very minimally involved in the technology side of Apple.
But also, people worship Miyamoto, and he doesn't know how to code anything. And never has. So...
Is that true?
Yeah, Miyamoto is like the first game designer in the sense that he just came up with the game ideas.
Who did he get to do Donkey Kong?
Maybe that was Gunpei Yokoi.
I thought that the thing about Gunpei Yokoi that we read about last time we played iRacing was that he, like, showed Miyamoto how to do it.
Well, I remember that Miyamoto was paired with a coder to do Donkey Kong, so either that was Gunpei Yokoi or something else.
Yeah. Did we talk about the Ultra Hand?
We've talked about the Ultra Hand.
We talked about Gunpei Yokoi's Ultra Hand?
Yeah, we've talked about Gunpei Yokoi's hit grabber toy, the Ultra Hand.
Did we talk about the story behind it that I read about?
I don't know.
Apparently, the Ultra Hand, which was immortalized in Tears of the Kingdom.
True. Yes. Also that.
Was it was like, it's like the grabber arm. Everybody's seen a grabber arm. But this was like a toy that he made for himself while he was a repairman in the factories that made like Nintendo playing cards or whatever. And a Nintendo executive came to like inspect the factory and saw the toy and was like, "We gotta ship that!" And that's how he got promoted from being a repair tech in a Nintendo factory, which is crazy. That's the sort of thing, like, you hear that and you're like, that's the sort of thing that could only happen in the the middle third of the last century.
Yeah. Weird stuff. But the last iRacing stream was when we talked about how enormously instrumental Gunpei Yokoi was in the early Nintendo successes.
Yeah.
He invented the D-pad, which I don't think we said on the last thing.
We didn't. I forgot that he invented the D-pad.
You're welcome, everyone, for the D-pad. That was Gunpei.
Shit. We would still be using
that was Yokoi-chan
remote, with like a TV remote controllers. For...
It is. Yeah, it's so funny. You look at those a lot of old game controllers in like the early 8-bit era, were basically like a television remote with a giant disc joystick on top.
Yeah.
It was literally just like, here's 9
insane.
buttons. Just they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here they are.
It is funny that we did go backwards on button amount. They like
well, but
for some reason
they're in more intuitive places. Like they're compartmentalized in a way that I think really helps.
Yeah, but I think about the capabilities of something like the NES and how severely limited it was by only having 2 buttons. Like,
yeah,
you can do so much with 8 bits, but you can't if you only have 2 buttons.
Yeah. It was an
mean?
intentional limitation because they felt like a lot of these games were... I think they felt like they were getting overly complex with all the buttons they were using, and maybe that was true, but I'd argue it was more a problem of the controllers.
Yeah, it was a problem of the controllers for sure. That's God, I can't believe that he did the Tamagotchi. That was like crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I had ever heard that. That was wild.
I know. Like, can you even
We're about to
imagine having that many
time.
hits?
We're about to qualify, everybody. Don't go off the track. Yay!
Hadamex's ColecoVision remote with the dial is kind of cool. They're all cool.
They're all
definitely
yeah,
cool.
sure. I love them.
Yeah. But I don't know how effective they are as a functional controller or as an ergonomic device.
The only one I don't love is the Atari 5200 has the totally cuckoo bird quirk of having like no...
Oh, like the base station controller, like the...
What's up?
It's like meant to lay like on the ground.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like angled up.
I can't remember exactly what it looks like. I just remember that it had no, like, even at the time, a lot of people were, like, people on the Atari team were mad about this, but, like, there was no centering, spring at all on the joystick. So, like, if you moved it to the right, it would just stay there.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to,
sucks.
like, and it basically made everything on the Atari 5200 worthless.
52 or 26?
52.
Okay.
Yeah. So
is that maybe also true of the 2600?
No. That's what's so weird is like, how did you... What would make you think that was a good idea?
Because the 5200 also has the twisty bit, right?
I don't...
Does that not twist?
So.
I've never touched one. I just always just, like, imagined that it twists.
I thought I remembered the 5200 having kind of like a teensy joystick that you held between your finger and thumb.
Yeah.
But...
So it looks like, I'm Googling it, it looks like a wedge, and it's angled upward slightly, because I think you're supposed to have it on the ground.
Yeah.
You're like sitting, because you're 7 years old, you're sitting on the ground, on the floor, crisscross applesauce. You have the controller in front of you on the ground, sort of leaning over it with like your left hand on the buttons and your right hand on the joystick, or the reverse. But to me,
it really quick.
That's how I imagine this is meant to be used. And if you look at pictures of it, it is like laying flat on the ground in a lot of the pictures.
Wait, maybe these... Which one is the... Oh, there's different ones.
Oh, I'm thinking of the one...
Okay, yeah, there's like a giant, like, arcade-style one, but I think the original was just this, like, dial remote. Exactly like we were talking about. Like, a clicker with a joystick on top. A clicker. We all know a clicker.
Yeah, we all know clickers.
Sorry if you don't know about clickers, but that's your problem, not ours.
That's your problem. Try living somewhere else.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Move to New England 30 years ago, loser.
We got to bring back all the New England slang.
Yeah.
It's dying out.
And don't say cheese, Brett Kamba. It's just the same as swearing.
What the fuck is that?
That's
like Stephen King.
There's the Cujo audiobook is narrated.
Is Stephen King.
Yeah, it is literally Stephen King. It's narrated by this old woman who does this incredible Maine accent, And my favorite line from the book/audiobook is when a mother scolds her son by saying, and don't say geez, Brett Kamba, it's just the same as swearing.
That's so funny because this couldn't have even been a, in my mind, I just remembered this line. I've never read Cujo. I've never read Cujo. I just could tell.
That's fine. A lot about the failings of the Pinto. A faulty Pinto at the center of a lot of that book's plot.
That's fun. I remember, because I skipped the episode, because I skip every episode of Just King Things that is a book that I haven't read until I read it, and then I can go back. Unless I'm like, I don't want to read that book, which has happened a few times. Like, I don't want to read Desperation. So I skipped that one. Or is it the other one? I guess I just listened to both, but there was one of them that was like, I'm not going to read these two books.
I would have said read them both, but it's too late now.
Yeah. Well, I had not heard good things about Desperation and the other one.
Yeah, fine.
The Regulators. Yeah, the Regulators.
I was a kid. What do you want?
I want you to have had better taste in Stephen King books.
They were okay.
Anyway, I skipped the ones that I'm definitely like, I really want to read that. I just haven't yet. And Cujo is one of those. But they've talked about how much they really liked Cujo many times in subsequent episodes. But I was like, oh wow, I'm glad that I didn't spoil myself by listening to the Cujo thing.
Listen to how mean this car sounds. Or can you hear it? Wait, did I even share with you? What's happening?
Oh no, have just been watching on the stream.
Oh shit!
I forgot. I kind of forgot. In my head I realized that there was a delay. But yes, please.
There we go. Okay.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip says, I love bubblers. Yeah, bubblers.
Sure, bubblers.
Bubblers.
Which oh shit! I have to full screen this thing.
Do you know why we call them bubblers?
I did recently learn that, and I was shocked to know why.
It's very funny.
It's a brand. It's a brand of
it's
water
a brand
fountain.
Name of a failed water fountain company that only ever got purchase in New England.
And it aerated the water, and that's why it was a bubbler.
It's from New England, or it's from Wisconsin or something. It's like from the mid-north region of, it's like Wisconsin or Michigan or something like that. This car does sound mean.
Yeah. It's funny thinking about Ferrari. I mean, I guess all car companies do this, but Ferrari especially makes a big deal about how they tune the engines for a specific sound, and I guess they wanted this thing to sound like a rabid animal.
It's weird to tune an engine to a specific sound if you're also trying to tune it to be a good engine.
They do both.
Do you think that they actually lie and they just build it to be really good, and then they go what's the least possible amount of work we can do to make it believable that we would have made it sound like this on purpose? Yeah,
that's basically what I think. I think they basically make the engine and then say, what can we do to make this sound cooler? Well, also, the thing is, Ferrari isn't independent anymore. I think it's now owned by the same car company that owns, 65% of all car companies, because it's 2024, and that's how we do things. This is
That's sad. They should be free to make cars that kill people independently.
Right. Whoa! I don't know. I forget what this is called. The formation lap or the. I don't know. No, formation lap is different because then you grid after that, I guess. This is the in lap? Pace lap?
It's so crazy to me that, on Earth, everybody who started a successful company, pretty much, not everybody, but
now.
Almost everybody, everybody that started a successful company that is then being looked into to be acquired by a bigger company, all the people that made those companies, that's at least what they think. They go I made this company, even though that's obviously ridiculous and it's the workers that do all the work that make the
I
company
actually
what
think
it
it's
is.
only the founders of companies that do any of the work.
Right.
But
That's how
that's
they
my
think.
personal belief.
Right. That's Kyle's belief and also the owners of these companies. But then they just all sell their companies.
Yeah.
And it's like, you really wanted $50 million that fast? You
That
couldn't have
check.
just like
That check, baby.
I just don't understand being that motivated by money. Like fundamentally,
Right.
isn't it like there are things that I own that I wouldn't sell because I want to have them. Isn't your shouldn't people feel that way about their own companies? Like it's so crazy, especially that we know that almost every time a company gets sold, it gets ruined.
Ooh, let's go. Why'd that person end up in the sand?
Let's see, who owns Ferrari? Oh, it's Chrysler now.
Stellantis?
Ferrari became a public company in 1960. It was a subsidiary
Stellantis,
of Fiat,
right?
and now it's owned by Fiat Chrysler.
Is
you
that
say?
different from Stellantis?
Stellantis?
Yeah.
Whoa! Oh, Fiat Chrysler is now part of Stellantis.
There you go.
So it was Fiat, and then it was Fiat Chrysler, and now it's Stellantis Fiat Chrysler.
I hate that name so much. It drives me crazy.
Stellantis? Well, it sounds like Stellaris.
It sounds like Stella plus Atlantis somehow. Oh shit. That was kind of my fault.
Right, and normally you wouldn't be able to do Stella plus Atlantis.
We all know it makes no sense. I can't explain why I hate it. It's just Stellantis, and I'm like, ugh.
No, you're right. It doesn't sound like a good. It's not Ferrari. You know, for as little as I care about, I do not. I have an atypical taste. I think when it comes to automobiles, and Ferrari is not to my taste. But it's a slick and cool car that is for rich people who think they're awesome. And Stellantis does not sound like that. It sounds like a tax rebate company.
Whoa. Look at all these guys. Stop it. Come on. What was that?
He stopped.
They did stop. I was, I'm still kind of in danger of getting disqualified.
Why are you in danger of getting disqualified?
I've had 9 incidents points so far. Mostly from hitting 2 different cars, and that gave me 4 points each, so that's 8 total. And then I went off the track once, and that's 1 point. That's for a total of 9.
Why don't
and
you
if I
do
get
better?
17, I get kicked out of the race. And also, my safety rating's gonna suck after this.
Why don't you just focus on
I shouldn't have
taking it slow, and not trying to, bear.
I kind of am doing that.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't realize that's the level we were operating on.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought I was working with a professional here.
Well, I was just saying we're at the...
What are the troubles that you're having with this car?
Braking. It's all braking.
Is there a
braking and understeer?
Understeer is when you're trying to steer and it's not steering as much as you want.
Yeah.
Should you?
Because the car's going too fast and there's not enough traction.
Now let me ask you this: Can I offer you a tip?
No.
That I think might work. Seeing you race here, maybe try braking in a straight line for longer before starting your turns.
Okay. Good idea.
Oh, hey, no line today, huh?
Yeah, I said, look, Mom, no line.
I didn't notice
nothing.
That. Sorry. It's because I literally didn't hear it.
Nuts.
Maybe you need the line for this car.
It's this. I don't need the line because it's like the same line, I think. I don't think it's any different.
You don't think that this car is going to have more red because it wants you to be braking earlier?
Well, I don't think they create independent lines. I think they just make one line.
You don't think they have a line per car?
I think it's kind of like tuned
Come on,
towards...
this is a game that's $10 per month, plus the cars cost money and the tracks cost money.
That's true. They do have a lot of
It
cars.
took them. They have a lot. But I mean, once you build the
It's
game,
not. I
what
mean,
even
the
else do you
line's
have
off
to
by
do?
default. It's not a racing line game. You know.
The easiest way to solve this would be to turn the line on and see if it's different.
Okay. Well, it's not gonna be. Well, I can't really do that in the middle of a race, actually. I got up
That's true,
above.
that's
I got
fair.
my
I didn't
safety
consider
rating up above 3 now. I'm at 3.4, but I'm not gonna be at 3.4 after this race.
It's kind of a shame that it's not per car too. I guess that makes sense though.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was saying I was happy that they split the like open wheel car and the sports car into 2 different licenses, because now I don't have to feel like I can't touch formula cars for fear of destroying my sport car safety rating.
Right. What is a formula car?
That's iRacing's term for an open wheel car, meaning just like that the wheels stick out on the sides like a Formula One car or an Indy car.
Now this is a good question.
The
So
cars
that
go
you know,
faster because they're lighter.
I wanted to. They go faster because they're lighter.
They're very fragile.
What are the, to you, what are the major differences in the different kinds of racing that make one worth watching over another one? Like, to me, the shape of the Formula One car doesn't really seem to matter.
Ugh.
And I struggle to think of like what would be different between that and like this kind of racing or like Indy cars. Like, why would you watch one over the other?
That's a great question, and not one that I'm the best person to answer. But I think it's just that every racing type has its own kinds of quirks or whatever. But I think in general, Formula One is just the most popular because it has the fastest cars. So it's just like, you know, fastest cars, that's the one people want to see or whatever.
Are you sure that NASCAR isn't the most popular? Because I think that it is by a lot.
In America, maybe, but definitely not worldwide, obviously. But Formula One has had a huge popularity surge in the last 10 years. Mostly because Formula One was bought by an American company that has set about trying really hard to gain American viewership.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. And they're
snip, snap,
trying to
snip,
buy MotoGP now, which is like the Formula One of motorcycles.
Snip, snap, snips, snip, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip. Says
Get it right.
the rich boy drama of the F1 is the appeal.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I'm sure that there's rich boy drama. I've heard a lot about how it's basically impossible to become an F1 driver.
Yeah.
Because there's so few of them.
There's only 20.
How is that even anything? How is that? How is it only 20?
There's
It's
only
crazy.
20.
There's more players on one baseball team
Yeah.
than there is in all of F1.
Well, the teams
why wouldn't
have
you
the
have
teams
100?
have hundreds of people on them. There's just only 2 racers on each team. They have, you know, a couple backup racers, but you know, the teams
Doesn't
are
that
mostly
feel
engineers and stuff, and pit crew.
How many drivers are like part of teams but don't drive?
Part of teams but don't drive. I mean, I would assume they have like. They probably
do you
have
an
one backup
internal-
on. They probably have one backup on the day and a number like kind of on their call-up roster where it's like, hey, you're an F2 driver, but if we need you, we can call
that a
you
thing?
up. Yeah, there's actually F2 through 4.
And those are like AA, AAA.
Yeah, like the higher the
quadruple A.
number, the slower the car, and the lower the status.
Okay, and those are like farm teams for F1.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you're racing F1 and you die because that happens. So you'd call up someone from F2.
It hasn't happened in like 25 years or something.
Okay, that's
But
fair.
an F2 driver did die like 5 years ago, and that was very sad.
It's such an odd thing. It I guess with the F2 through 6 ecosystem, it makes a little bit more sense, where it's like, it's like
Yeah,
it's like Mario Kart, where you've got a set of racers that race in 50cc,
yeah, it's just
and
so
then a set that
expensive
race.
is the thing.
Yeah, but of course it is.
Yeah.
But
But
that doesn't stop NASCAR from having however many fucking drivers they have.
oh, well, no. I mean, I don't think they have that many more.
You don't think so?
What do they have, like 40?
I'll look. How many active NASCAR drivers?
One of the last independent F1 teams, or maybe the only last one, the last like family-owned F1 team is Williams, and they're currently struggling just to have enough race cars to like enter the race.
Damn.
Because every time they crash, that's like, okay, that's gonna be a couple
That
weeks
sucks.
and a few $1 million.
Did you see that show? It's the show with Natasha Leone, written by or created by the guy who did Looper and
Oh, really?
the Star Wars movie Last Jedi. What the fuck is that show called? The chat can help me out, I'm sure, on this show.
Wait,
Anyway, the idea is she can read people's minds, and she's on the run from the mob for cheating and gambling. And as she goes from city to city, she's sort of just like solving murders that happen when that happen when she shows up.
okay.
Yes, Poker Face. Thank you. Thank you to Hatimex for that.
Poker Face is...
So here's the thing. The first episode or two, really fun. Loved it. I love her. Russian Doll season 1 is, I think, really phenomenal television. But there happens to be an episode about racing, and it is this sort of thing about there's like this, family dynasty racing team that is up against a guy who's like struggling to get his car fixed.
Someone just got wrecked because they just said thanks a bunch of times.
Anyway, that's the worst show that I've seen in years. It made me so mad every episode. It's sort of like an episode. It's a show that, like, for the first half of every episode seems to be saying like, rich / powerful people are assholes and unempathetic. And then for the second half, it goes like, but anyone's capable of being evil, even poor people.
Thank God.
You
mean a BioShock Infinite syndrome?
Yeah, it sort of has BioShock Infinite syndrome. And it gets just like more and more fucking deranged as the series goes on. Like there's an episode that absolutely drove me insane. I'm gonna spoil the show, by the way, for anybody who wants to watch this terrible, horrible show. There's an episode where the acting, the performances are great. It is like the plots are horrific. There's an episode where there's these like 2 left-wing activist retirees who she makes friends with, and then they turn out to be actually left-wing terrorists who are planning to blow up a bunch of children to protest the Vietnam War.
Right, that makes sense.
And then when they
a thing
find
famously
out,
people did and wanted
I know,
to do.
right, exactly. And when they find out, yes, this is somehow like anti-Vietnam War protest, like the level of sort of like right-wing lunacy in this show was psychotic. It's psychotic. Watching that episode, I felt like I was going to go insane. But they find out that they've been found out, and like immediately start like poisoning people, like to like keep their secret hidden.
Right.
Felonious Moss says, well, scratch that show off the list. Yeah, this show is the depths of like sociopathy at work in the scripts of that show is unbelievable. Especially because like the first episode is about like they trick you into it, like she's kind of this cool grifter, and then the first episode, like even this you can see the shades of it. A horrible racist incel murders a black US veteran and like to steal his like lottery money.
Okay.
And it's sort of like at first it's like it feels like oh, this is like about how dangerous incels are.
Right.
But then it's sort of like, wait, but there's this like weird like pro US hegemony edge to this show that's theoretically about solving murders. Like anyway, yeah, this show's terrible. And so what happens is this like NASCAR episode, the plot of it is like this family dynasty racers, they're like trying to protect their legacy from this upstart racer who's like barely able to scrape together money, like spending all of his winnings on fixing his own car, and barely able to stay in the race. And they set out to sabotage him by making his basically breaking his brakes in a way that was hard to detect. But he finds out that they did this to him, and so in revenge he does the same thing back to them, instead of like going to the police or telling anybody. He goes like, I'm actually going to do the same thing to them, and then orchestrates it so that his daughter, because the daughter is also an upcoming racer, a Nepo baby race car driver. He orchestrates it so that the daughter takes the wheel instead of the dad, and then she crashes and dies.
Yeah.
And it is so like, it has such a low. This show has maybe the lowest opinion of people that I've ever seen. Like the lesson every time seems to be like, even the people you thought were nice and friendly and who you felt bad for their situation, even they're capable of a heinous murder at a moment's notice.
Right, yeah. Every regular person is actually a psychotic murderer waiting to happen.
Yeah. It's this show makes me feel insane.
The race is over.
I haven't even seen it since I saw it when it was new.
Okay.
Because I like Natasha Lyonne.
We came in 12th out of 20. It could have been way worse.
Could have been worse.
We finished where we qualified, and that's the best you can ask for when you get 15 race incident points.
Wow, that's low.
No, that's high. If I had gotten 2 more incident points, I would have gotten disqualified.
Yeah, sorry, I meant high.
It's high.
Dr. Cat says, I'd be very happy with 12 out of 20 on iRacing. Serious business racers.
And now I want to jump into the Rainmaster series, which is the same car, same track, but it's in the rain. And I wanna show this because I did a little bit of this rain driving on the last stream, but since then I learned about rain driving,
I lost
which I
connection
hadn't.
to the.
Oh, it'll come back up in a second.
Okay, good.
This is one of those games where like the menu is a browser.
I did not expect to remember about Poker Face today. It was not in the card. I'm like,
never heard of Poker Face.
I am surprised by how much animosity I still have for that show.
This show is called Poker Face.
It's called Poker Face.
Why is it
stars
called
Natasha, because she, sharp-eared listeners might remember that the reason she's on this journey is because she's on the run from the mob for cheating at gambling.
Oh.
She was cheating at gambling because she can read minds.
Oh.
And then uses that that power to solve a series of murders. It also
a
is
series of murders that just so happen to occur as she arrives in town.
Yeah, or right before she arrives in town sometimes. God, that episode with the left-wing terrorists is the worst episode of television I've ever seen.
Oh!
And I was so bought in. I was like,
see that?
No.
That was the rain. My car just like took a right-hand turn.
Oh, the stream did not come back.
Oh,
like,
sorry.
It's okay. What God, why can I not remember? Why can I not remember this guy's name?
I need to
Last
move
Jedi guy. Ryan Johnson.
Right.
Ryan Johnson. I don't know who wrote the scripts.
He did this bad show that you're talking about?
Yeah, Ryan Johnson did this bad show.
No.
So it was Natasha Leone, who I like, and Ryan Johnson, who I like. And then it was,
Bad.
That's
sad.
it was horrifically right wing. I mean, it was like psychotically conservative show.
This is too much up here. Face.
Whoa!
Take that, Cone.
Dr. Cat asked a pretty good question here. Is Kyle racing in a very small window instead of full screen? Yes.
No. This is my stream window. My screen is here. I see.
But still,
I see
sort
all
of
the things.
small window.
Well, it's a small window because I'm.
Do you have an ultra wide monitor?
No.
No.
But that would help if I had that.
It sort of cuts off the edge of your monitor, but so that you're playing in half.
When I learned
16:9.
When I learned that ultra wide monitors can show up as two monitors in Windows, that was
but you don't want it.
I didn't know.
You don't want it. Trust me, they suck.
What?
They're bad. I hate them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but what about racing though?
For racing, it's different. You're totally right. The number of games that support that monitor thing are lower than you would expect.
Oh,
and
I wouldn't expect that, really.
No, you wouldn't.
Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, sorry. What I mean is like some games have trouble seeing it as two monitors, so you can neither get an ultra wide, 32:9 view. Neither can you get like.
Probably have to do a lot of like light game hacking to like.
Yeah. Ted has an ultra wide. I think actually Ted has an ultra wide. I think
of course he does.
Ted has a 48:9. I think is what Ted.
Oh, does he? Does
yeah?
Woo, hey. Hi.
And he loves it, which is why I know that I wouldn't like it. I'm kidding. But I have used it, and I was like, Ted, this sucks.
What I did do was spend a lot of time and about $20 to get my PSVR working on my computer so that I could play this game in VR. And I thought I would love it, and I kind of did, except I forgot how low the resolution was on the PSVR, so it suddenly became even difficult to, like, read my gauges.
Oh, you need the PSVR 2, or you need to get a Meta Quest 3.
Or, yeah, that's true. There's, of course, like, in the sim racing space, there's currently, like, essentially like an ultra-wide VR monitor, a VR headset called like the Pi Max.
Oh yeah, the Pi Max sucks though because it's 1,000 pounds.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I keep hearing people say, forget VR with sim racing, just get an ultra-wide monitor.
It's so I have done VR with like flying games. And it's so cool. So I think they're wrong.
It is super cool. As I was doing a lot with the PSVR, and I'm gonna explain a little bit more about what I'm doing on this wet racetrack in a second. But what I found with the PSVR was like, it felt too strenuous on my eyes to keep switching between the focuses of my up close gauges and the far away like thing that I was looking at, and like
Yeah.
I could have described it perfectly if it was like the day after I had done it, but I realized as I was doing it there was like some kind of fundamental barrier in the VR technology that I was like, oh, I can tell, like, unless it somehow fundamentally changes, this will never be what you want it to be for some specific reason, but I can't remember exactly what. But it had something to do with, like, focal distances and stuff like that.
That may very well be a PSVR issue, and not like, you know, I've used the Vive, I've used the Quest 3, and
yeah,
I played like a sort of an arcade sim hybrid flying game, and I felt like everything was where it should have been, and everything felt like what it should feel like.
Yeah, now I'm trying to remember what the thing was specifically.
What I want is for VR to be decoupled from like the worst technology companies in the world, because VR feels like half a stone's turn from NFTs and crypto.
Yeah.
Except for that, VR is actually cool and kind of interesting, and those things are terrible and scams. And just keep Apple and you know who should have done VR. And I know why they didn't, because they've had unsuccessful experiments in the past. But I feel like that VR games are the real inheritors of the Wii Sports mode of playing games.
Yeah, you're right.
And if Nintendo had gone from making
the
Wii to now making a VR headset where you play that kind of game, but instead it's hand tracking or using, you know, controllers or whatever to play little fun mini games, like that's what VR's about. But make them Nintendo instead of, you know, shitty.
Yeah, make them good and not bad.
Make them good and not bad is basically the thing. If anybody keeps up with like what's going on in VR games, they haven't even figured out. I don't know who's developing these games. They haven't even figured out how to like design a UI yet that doesn't look like it was made by a 14-year-old. Like the text choices are insane. The font choices are insane. And I'm not picky about fonts, but it's just like, how did you think that this looked good? What are you doing?
Let me tell you about rain driving, Keith.
Yeah.
These race car drivers, they're always talking about finding grip on the racetrack. And normally, it's like, you can kind of see, like, underneath the driving line, there's, like, this shiny patch on the road. And that's where, like, all the cars drive in dry weather. And the track gets rubbered. Like, literally the rubber from the tire fills in the crags on the road. And it becomes smoother and kind of rubberier. And it grips better. You can see it down the middle here. And that's why race drivers will complain about like newly paved racetracks are like too slippery, because they don't it's really like rubber on rubber is like the best grip condition. But what happens when it's raining?
Another win for rubber in the same stream.
Another win for rubber. But what happens when it's racing, Keith, is now this is like the opposite of what you want, is that now the water is, all those like filled in spots that are filled in with the rubber, the water is sitting on top of it now. And so the regular driving line is super slippery. And you want to stay off the driving line.
And this game does simulate that?
Street is rougher, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So like, that's why I want to stay off the line as much as possible and only not try to turn too much when I'm crossing the driving line, because like my wheels might kick out from under me or something. And I didn't know that last time, so I was just following the regular line like a fool.
Yeah. I wish I could remember the name of that VR flight game that I played, so that people could go and look at what the font in that game looks like. And then just know that I've seen 6 or 7 other VR games that have the same style of font, that looks like it was designed by someone who hadn't heard about Comic Sans yet,
Nah.
and is like, that looks fun.
Oh, I gotta follow
Like,
that person. Oh, they're leaving now.
is it practice or is this a qualifier?
It's practice.
Okay. It's practice. Ah.
I didn't. I didn't trust. I didn't want to do any more damage to my safety rating, but I did just get a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This is all the stuff that's hard. This pit lane is tough to learn at first. You can't speed in the pit lane. There's a pit speed limiter that took me too long to find. You have to exit the pit lane over the blue line, or you gotta come back into the pit lane, because that's a penalty. Gotta go through these blue cones. My car keeps wanting to slide. Ah! It just keeps like driving off on its own. It just will just turn.
Well, this is the car that you've been having that problem with even in dry ground, right?
A little. Mostly the problem I have with it is just I keep not stopping in a short enough distance, and then I slide off. I don't know what to do about this spot up here. Whoa, that person did a good job of not hitting me.
Was that something you caused or something they caused?
That was me. I just like, I think I went over the rubbery part of the track and slid. Ah! Oh, still on the track. Oh, and I'm passing this person. Still counts.
Wow, still counts.
Still counts.
Still counts.
That's called winning the race. Oh wait, I'm on the line.
Just barely on the track, just barely counts. Hey, but you know what they say about just barely?
What do they say about just barely?
It's good enough.
Nice. You know what former F1 champion Sebastian Vettel said once?
No.
He said
Ultra Wings 2. That's the game.
Ultra Wings.
Yeah, if you look up Ultra Wings 2, go look at the UI for that game. Maybe in a Let's Play or something, because otherwise you're just flying around. But the fucking UI and text is so crazy. It's just like, it's sort of an arcadey sim, and then the font choices absolutely take you fully out of the game. It's insane. I've never seen
font choices take me fully out
I mean,
of
it
the
sounds
game.
like I'm exaggerating. I'm not a font guy. This is like not something that I care about normally. That's how bad this is.
I believe you. Whoa!
And then you could repeat that for like a bunch of different, of like the last year or two of VR game development. They're like stuck on this. It must be like the free font that comes with some, like it must be something free that someone
Like
put together in a pack, and
like
that's why they all look like
UE5
this.
font or something.
Yeah, I cannot believe that UE5 would do something. It has to be like some VR specific thing.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what VR game development looks like.
Whoops. Sorry. Sorry.
Fun game though.
Wait, what was it? Fly
Ultra Wings.
Ultra Wings, not Fly Max. Ultra Wings.
I believe it's on the PSVR 2, so you could, if you got a PSVR 2, you could do
No,
that.
I have a PSVR 1. I don't think I'm gonna get the 2 anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, the 2 seems like a bad bet. The 2, unless you want, you had a Vita and a PSVR 1, so unless you want a trifecta of unsupported Sony technology, then
well, that's the thing, is the PSVR 1 was actually supported pretty well, so there's just no reason to get a 2 because it's all on the 1.
The games are still being, they're still making games for that?
Oh, well,
No way.
not still, but games still, Beat Saber still exists on PS4, and it runs way better than the Quest 2, so what else do you need?
Fair, that's fair.
And the Move controllers are the best motion controllers I've found for Beat Saber because they're so lightsabery, and they're evenly weighted. They're not all weirdly shaped in your hand.
I have not used the Quest 2 controller, but I have used the Quest 3 controller.
Okay.
And I think they're very similar, and I like the Quest 3 controller. I think it's very comfortable.
I think it's good in general, but I think specifically for Beat Saber, the Move controllers are much better. I know that's
remember the Move controllers?
I do
remember.
remember.
The Move what the
I
fuck?
remember. Hey,
God.
Hey.
Remember when everyone was like, we gotta figure out how to combat the Wii. We have to do our own Wii.
Hey,
and Sony was like, I don't know, I guess we'll do these.
Better.
Well, they did it better. Microsoft did not.
No.
But it just was just like they were they acted like they were invited to a fight that they were not invited to. You could have just kept doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Nobody bought a PS3 instead of a Wii because of the Move. Nobody. You could, because wanna know why? Because the Wii was basically free.
Yeah, right. If you could find one.
Everyone either had that's the position that Nintendo has had for years now, is like, you either have an Xbox and a Nintendo, or you have a PlayStation and a Nintendo. So there's no point in trying to keep someone from buying a Wii. Doesn't make sense. The Move controls are goofy-ish.
I think because in the Run Button Discord, people are recently talking about like Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. I started thinking about Sports Champions, and it was really good. I liked it a lot more than Wii Sports. It had sword and shield. It had one-to-one motion-tracked sword and shield fighting.
Right, but then, because I saw this too, you never played Wii Sports Resort, which did have the one-to-one motion tracking.
I know.
And they came out around the same time, right? Maybe even Sports Resort was first?
I don't know about that one. Oh, shit. Hey. I'll call that a save. I didn't get a control loss penalty.
What was it? What was the Sony game called?
Sports Champions. It had disco golf, which was cool.
Yep, Sports Champions a year after Sports Resort.
Ping pong.
Wii Sports Resort was 2009. Sports Champions was 2010.
I still bought it super late. I bought it like a year or two after it came out and got it for like
We played it
dirt
once.
cheap.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah. I loved it. Did I love it because I paid way less for it than it originally was sold for? Maybe. Maybe.
You can buy a new used copy on eBay for $43.
I think that's about what I paid for my copy.
$43?
Well,
That's so high.
No, it came with the Move controller.
Oh, the Move controllers that I was selling at GameStop for $2?
They weren't that price yet. And hey, those Move controllers I bought for Sports Champions, guess what I didn't have to do when it came time to get a PSVR and Beat Saber? Buy Move controllers.
That's fair.
Off track.
Are you having fun?
No, Keith, I'm not.
Damn.
I want to love this Ferrari, but I can't.
I think it's time to give up the Ferrari and play a car that you like.
Okay. I'm gonna play a car that I like.
Or it's time to hand the reins over.
Could it
I'm
be
actually
so
eating
soon?
dinner.
Oh,
So
well.
I'm just sort of but I would stop if it was time to play old games.
No, I'll jump into the Miata. That's at Virginia International Raceway this week.
Riley says Connect Sports was a banger, and I can't be convinced otherwise. Honestly,
Was that
there
even
are
a
some
game?
Kinect
What is
things that I
Kinect
had-
Sports?
Connect Sports was the Wii Sports for the Kinect. I like the Kinect. You know, every once in a while there was a good
Garbage.
thing on there.
Total trash. Remember we tried to do the fucking Sonic Riders in like literally an open barn and it couldn't handle it. It was like
It might have been the light though.
No,
it might have been too dark.
I feel like okay, maybe.
Well, because
But it has all
I
that
know how
IR
bright it gets in that
shit.
barn. It does have the IR, but it doesn't communicate the IR versus the actual camera to determine where things are.
Who could say what that thing did? But I think we all know that it was shit. So
We had a Kinect at my dad's house because he had an Xbox downstairs that he used basically as a media console because it worked really well for that.
what happened to my safety rating?
And
Could have been worse.
and we got a Kinect because there was a period of time where you couldn't buy it without the Kinect.
Oh my god.
Which is outrageous.
That's what I meant.
Minus 13. Boy, that's bad. I think.
0.14. It's not so bad, but we just
That's
don't
not so
like
bad.
it. We don't like
That's
it.
not so bad.
We just don't like it.
Am I right? There was really a period of time where you couldn't buy the Xbox One without buying a Kinect. That's true.
Xbox One. Yes. And that see, weirdly enough, I did like the Xbox One Kinect, but not because it was a Kinect, just because it was a microphone and it had the voice command stuff that worked before they broke it.
True. Anyway, we had a number of games because at the time, Kevin was like 10. And so that's who the Kinect is for. It's for a 10-year-old boy. And
Lightsaber on.
I played a handful of those games, and I mostly had an okay time with them. I thought it was kind of fun. I didn't like having to hold my hands up to do stuff. That kind of was weird.
Yeah, you mean the whole thing that the Kinect was.
Well, some of the games you had to hold your hands up for like more. Some games you didn't have to like keep your hands like in a ready position. But the stuff that worked well. What was the fucking like Western game? The Twisted Pixel game?
The Gunstringer.
The Gunstringer? The Gunstringer was pretty fun.
I've still never played it.
Sports Connect was pretty fun.
I still have both versions.
This might have been
of
Sports
Kinect,
Connect.
though, so.
But there was a game. I remember a game where you're like
there was
like
Wavy
whitewater
Tube
rafting.
Man.
That game was kind of fun.
You're thinking of Kinect Adventures from Rare.
Kinect Adventures was okay.
Maybe? Or did Rare do the Kinect? Or did Rare do Kinect Sports? Or did they also do Kinect Adventures?
Dr. Cat says the dancing game was okay. That's the Kinect to me. That one game. Sure. Like that
Dance
game.
Central. Yeah.
Dance
there
Central,
you go.
Right.
But see, it's like Dance Central and PSVR. They both had their one music game, but Beat Saber is way better than Dance Central.
Beat Saber is really fun. It's
a different thing.
It's a different thing. It's a little hard. Beat Saber's like got a real skill ceiling to it. Maybe that's true of Dance Central. I never played it, but I can imagine that it's not as hard as Beat Saber.
I mean, it's, you got to be coordinated and you have to be able to move your body without getting tired. So that's a skill. Hey, that's a skill.
That's a skill.
We're here at the Virginia International Raceway North course thing. Ah! Now we're off it. Ow.
Wow, that sucked.
Let's get
This
a
is your good
replay.
car, though, right?
Let's get a replay.
Hey, can you give me? I haven't had screen
there,
sharing
and
like
then
forever.
I'm taking the corner. I'm going around the corner, and then I'm going too much around the corner, and then I'm hitting a wall.
Yeah, why did you do that? Why didn't you go less around the corner?
My car just started doing that. It's just one of those weird racing things. I mean, yeah, that is what losing control of the car means. You're not controlling it anymore. All right, we're gonna try.
I lost control of a car in real life. Have you ever lost control of a car in real life?
Have I ever lost control of a car in real life? Well, my car is hydroplaned a couple times. That's losing control.
Mm-hmm.
That was not fun, by the way, when that happens.
Yeah.
You know, because
I lost control a few times.
I was on the highway and the road was curving, you know, and my car just kept going straight where the other cars were coming the other direction because the road was all wet, and that wasn't fun at all.
So I have had multiple instances of losing control of my car in the snow.
Sure,
The roads are icy and I go to turn and it won't turn. I've actually gotten in 2 car accidents that way. One where we were going very slow and I just went to turn, like I'm going like 4 miles an hour around a corner, and the tail of the car just swung out, kept going straight, the nose turned, but the tail kept going forward, and I bonked into some woman's car.
Sorry, I assume you were driving a Porsche 911 GT3. Is that?
No, I was driving my mother's Ford Explorer, I think is what that car was.
Okay. Ooh,
at the time.
Sorry, not really related, but I did just have my first run-in today with a driverless taxi.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you feel safe?
No. And I'll tell you why. Was the reason I found out I don't know if it's the first one I've seen, but it's the first one I noticed, because what happened was it was like a 2-lane road, like 1 lane of traffic in each direction, and some people had parked their car in one of the lanes and was like emptying groceries or cleaning supplies out of the back of the SUV or something. So everyone had to squeeze through the 1 lane, and there was an oncoming car that I was waiting to come through. And when they got to the gap, they just kind of slowed down and stopped. And I beeped at them, and they kind of like inched forward. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with this person? So I went all the way to the other side of the road to like the oncoming bicycle lane, because it was literally the only space to get around them. And as I'm passing, I look over to be like, what's this fucking asshole's problem? No one in the car.
Great.
And I go,
here's what I want.
Awesome.
Here's what I want. If I could put this in like the most sort of like liberal reform legalistic term possible, what I want is a massive class action lawsuit from anyone who's ever conceivably shared a road with a driverless car.
Seriously.
Against any company who's made a driverless car, and we take every single dollar that they have to liquidate their entire... Sorry, if you've made a driverless car, you're gone as a company.
Yeah,
we're going to destroy you, and you have to give 100% of all of the money that you have, all of the assets that you control, sell it off, and give it all to anyone that you've shared a road with, ever. You're done. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I want to vampirically annihilate these companies financially.
This was like the first time, like I've never like called my city government to be like, ban this, but that was definitely the most I had ever felt. That was like, I should just call both Boston and Somerville and be like, no,
like, I mean,
stop this.
If there's ever anything, if there's ever a time
we
to
know
do something totally
computers can't drive in
like,
Boston. If computers can't drive in LA, there's no way they can drive in Boston.
Humans can't even drive in Boston. Yeah, I mean, it's just... Did you hear that that BMW just got basically the permission to sell the... Like, it's the first car that's been approved to be self-driving without you having to watch the road.
No.
Yeah. So there's also going to be people driving BMWs and not watching the road.
Dude, people already driving BMWs don't watch the road.
I know.
Like,
Yes. And now even more so.
If there's any two types of car drivers we don't need not watching the road, it's Teslas and BMWs.
Mm-hmm.
Bad idea. You know, listen, I know why we were all excited about it. We all thought it was a great idea, okay?
No.
But sometimes we're wrong. Okay?
I don't think I ever thought this. I don't think I ever thought this was a good idea.
Sometimes you just don't have all the information and you have a bad idea. And then you get more information later and you realize, oh, no driverless cars, please. Thank you.
I'm willing to be proved wrong. You know, I've been wrong about things in the past. Obviously, I haven't had the foresight is 2020 psychic opinion of the future, you know, on every topic in the world. I really don't think I ever thought driverless cars were a good idea. I don't think I ever heard that and was like, yes, give me that.
Once you realize this, you will see it everywhere, every day, constantly. People massively underestimate the cognitive capacity of the human brain. Like, people, and I think it's because people are stupid, and that's true, but people aren't the same
but your
as their
brain
brains.
is still working even when you're stupid.
People's stupidness is only a tiny part of their brain. Another part of their brain is like the part of your brain that does driving. And actually, that part might not be as dumb as the part that, like, thinks Elon Musk has good ideas, ironically.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of bad drivers out there. There's a lot of selfish driver. Like, I understand, you know, maybe there's some truth to, like, taking someone's ego out of driving by removing them from the driver's seat. But that is not the same thing as then giving that control over to a person. You know, like, it was Christmas Day last year. I was driving home from Isaac's parents' house, and I was merging onto the high. Sorry, I wasn't even merging. I was in the lane that became an on-ramp, and I was going. I'm gonna say it's like a 35-mile-an-hour posted speed limit for that on-ramp, and I was probably going 45 miles an hour. Because there is a lane that merges into the lane that I was in. Two lanes become one. You can't really see it, and it's downhill. So you want to be kind of careful, especially at night, going through here, because people will just zoom down that road that becomes my road, and you don't want to hit them or be hit by them. So I'm going 45 miles an hour. Above the posted speed limit, a car comes up behind me going...
Well, you're not 45 miles per hour above the speed limit.
No, sorry. Above the speed limit. A car comes behind me, merges into my lane behind me, going like 60, 65, and within, 4 seconds, you know, like it didn't even give me a chance to get up the hill and start picking back up speed where it's safe to do so, was tailgating me harder than I've ever been tailgated in my life.
Jeez.
And then they they made a move to like run me off the road. They like sped forward and then went halfway between the lane we were in and the lane to the left, and then like were feet from my back left tire, and then got next to me and then did like a check like to the right to be like, ooh, like to,
oh my god,
and like I'm feet from the grass, like, and I would have rolled down a hill if I didn't not move.
And your car does not look like it has the most stable balance.
No, I drive a Fiat. So this person was in a massive truck, and I was in a Fiat also.
Oh my
so
god,
they would've...
what a fucking loser.
Yeah.
All these,
by the way,
all
this
these
is
fucking
Christmas
losers with
Day.
These... Ah!
This is Christmas Day. I am driving home
Jesus!
from Christmas.
Okay. So
and this person almost killed me.
obviously, this is a fucking man baby who had a bad Christmas and isn't handling it well.
For sure. Yeah, and then but the last thing they did is they merged back into my lane, slammed on the brakes when they were in front of me, and then sped off going 95 miles an hour down the road.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, I've never been as high on adrenaline as I like. This was a terrifying car moment. And
yeah, that's crazy.
The silver lining is that this is the exact kind of guy who would buy a Tesla and do a self-driving car. Like, but then I also don't want them to have that power because it's just like trading one extremely kind of unsafe driver for another extremely kind of unsafe driver, which is not a driver, a computer.
Yeah. And it's just that edge case thing. It's like when we think about driving, it seems so simple. Like we've done so much on roads with lines and signs and traffic signals to like make it an easy and readable process, but we don't notice that we're bending the rules and handling edge cases like every few seconds. Mm-hmm. Especially in a place like Boston where you basically have to make up half the rules as you go. And every place has different, like, unspoken rules about how you drive on a road and how you communicate to other drivers and stuff. Like, I assume, first of all, a driverless car could never understand the, like, flash your high beams to let you go thing.
Right.
But also, I think there's, like, a part of the country I heard where that's, like, reverse. And flashing your high beams means you wait, I'm going, which is wild. It's so strange to me. And so, there's like a really funny like YouTube short I liked where someone was like dressed as a police officer leaning into a window, and he's like, "Hey, he's like putting on a Boston accent. You want to explain to me why you stopped at the light back there?" And he goes, it was red. He goes, "No, it was yellow. It turned red because you slowed down. I don't know where you're from, but here in Massachusetts, when a light turns red, you can get like 4 more cows through there." And like, and that's like so true. Is like when people slow down at yellow lights, it drives me insane because that's just like not how people drive around here.
Well, the rule is, you slow down if it's safe to slow down. If you have to really brake to get through, if you have to speed up to get through it, then you should probably slow down.
Well, yes. All the yellow light means, we teach kids that yellow light means slow down, and that's a lie.
No. Yellow light means decide whether or not to keep moving or slow down.
The yellow light means the light is about to turn red. That's all it means. And you take that information and act accordingly. Yeah. So, like, if the light turns yellow, the light is saying to you, I'm about to turn red. And sometimes you can say in your head, well, I'm not going to be here for that. Have fun without me. You don't have to stop when the light turns yellow.
If you're able to come to a complete stop, before the light turns from yellow to red, then you shouldn't have braked.
No.
So I'm a good driver. I consider myself a good driver. I love to drive. I think part of that is being a gracious driver and like looking out for people and not trying to pass people. Who cares if I want to go 65 and this person's going 62? That doesn't mean I then have to go 75, pass them, merge in, and then start going 65. Like,
okay, but did you consider that I had a bad day at work and I'm really pissed off right now?
I think driving should be your therapy. Just have fun behind the wheel. Of course, we've talked about this a lot, and you hear it on the news, and you hear, philosophers talking about how prescient Adam Sandler's Click was. But people are really trying to fucking Adam Sandler Click their way through every part of life, where it's just like drawing, no, AI. Video editing, no, it's AI. Driving, no, it's computers now. We don't want to do anything that we could do and find pleasure of doing. We're just gonna skip it.
Yeah.
Skip it. Watch reruns of Friends on Netflix. Go to bed. Go back to work. That's it. Anything else, computer can take care of it.
Computer can take care of it. Um, yeah.
Like,
Raising a child, my robot butler can take care of it.
Yeah, also the iPad.
I keep meaning to bring this up. It still blows my mind. I've never heard anyone point this out, that the whole obsession with having robots that can do chores for you, that's just a fantasy about, like, acceptable slavery.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, well,
Right.
okay, alright, I guess we can't have slaves because it's, like, mean or whatever. So I just wish I could really have a
I wish I
slave
could have a
that
robot
it wasn't
slave.
mean to have a slave. Like a robot. Oh shit, I'm in a
I mean,
race. Well, now
if I
we're
can
racing,
get a robot
everyone.
if I can get a robot to do my laundry, I'm not saying no.
Oh my god, dude, I was like 40 minutes late for work because, like, because I needed to do my laundry, like, when I got home from work yesterday, and it took me until, like, when work started the next day to be done with that task.
Yeah. Yeah, I you know, there's no harm in, and I understand that we live in a world that
Right.
tries
Racing.
to make you think there's harm in this, but there's no harm in just taking your time and enjoying the drive. Just listen to some music, listen to a podcast, drive the car. Don't be a psycho. Don't try to get a robot to do it for you. It's crazy to me that driving is the closest thing to sitting still that any chore is, and people are like, we got to skip this. This sitting still, it's too much work.
It sucks, though.
I've got to sit.
Obviously, everyone's saying it. Trains are the obvious answer because then you're,
Right,
you're
trains, of course, are the
sitting
answer.
and you don't need to pay. You know what kind of vehicle lets you sit and not pay attention to the road? A train.
I love trains. I need to get my credit up so I can get an Amtrak credit card. Start getting points on my Amtrak credit card.
Yes, Keith loves trains, and obviously what he meant when he said that was that he loves Amtrak.
Hey, I do love Amtrak.
When was the last time you took an Amtrak train?
I have one scheduled for May, and I took one last year.
Shut up.
So, you know, on May 30th, it will have been 2 in 6 months.
Fine. You where do you get on?
There's an Amtrak line that goes from Boston to Providence to New York, and I used to take the Boston to New York, and now I take the Providence to New York. There's a commuter rail right outside my house that I know that you've seen that I take from Pawtucket to Providence. It's free, and then I just transfer onto the Amtrak.
Did you say it's free? Or
Yeah,
free
it's
when
free.
you
I mean,
have an
it's-
Amtrak ticket?
No, it's free in zone. So there's like multiple zones, and you pay by the zone. Interzone travel is free, so you can get from South Shore. You can get from
Intrazone.
intrazone. You can get from South Station to Ruggles or Back Bay for free because it's the same zone. But then you want to go to Route 138. That's one zone. You got to pay the zone fee. Right. So to get from South Shore, Jesus Christ.
This is on Amtrak?
This is the commuter rail.
Oh, the commuter rail.
Right. So I take the commuter rail from Pawtucket
I was
to
like,
Providence,
why don't I
and then
understand?
transfer to Amtrak,
Okay.
Providence to New York.
Okay, fine.
Dr. Katz says there's a place called Ruggles.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a place called Ruggles. It's next to Back Bay. It's next to the Fens.
Yeah. Me watching Wally and being like, there's a place called Yonkers?
I knew about Yonkers because of
Because of Hello Dolly.
I knew about Yonkers because of Hello Dolly. No, I knew about Yonkers because of what the fucking
No! Why?
because of Nick Kroll and John Mulaney doing Oh Hello.
Which thing was that?
Oh Hello.
Yonkers you were talking about.
Oh yeah, Yonkers.
Their characters are from Yonkers, I assume.
Um,
Or they have a lot to say about Yonkers, or
yeah, I think one of them might be from Yonkers, or there's a very funny joke that I think is from is from slash also in their Broadway
shit.
show that is on Netflix or was on Netflix
Serious
anyway,
time.
where one of them claims to have gone to the made up school SUNY Yonkers.
Sure. Okay. We're qualifying for the race. It's not
Almost
going that
positive
well.
that there's no SUNY Yonkers. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was laughing at something that is a real place and not a made up place.
It's happened twice recently that it's come up that my daughter somehow stumbled into the opinion that Harvard is in Florida.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
How can you think she lives where Harvard is?
Yeah, I think she saw a bus that said Harvard, and she's like, that bus says Harvard. And I was like, yeah, it's probably going to Harvard. And she's like, isn't that far away? I'm like, no, it's like one town over. And she's like, I thought it was in Florida. And I was like, didn't want to, like, just feed her, like, unnecessarily negative opinions about Florida, but all I could say was like, I don't think there's any prestigious universities in Florida.
You could be right. Maybe she was thinking of Hartford and thinking of Connecticut.
Which is basically Florida.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like,
It's south.
you know. Wait, Yale's in Connecticut, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like,
Yale's
you know,
in New Haven.
it would make sense if you thought Harvard was in Connecticut. It'd be like, oh, you're thinking of Yale or Princeton?
Princeton is in California?
What?
No, maybe I'm
New
wrong.
York?
Oh, I'm thinking of Stanford.
Shit.
I'm thinking of Stanford. Princeton is in New Jersey.
Right.
Stanford is in
Oh my
California.
God.
Yeah, I was thinking of Stanford. I was thinking of the movie Orange County, where he goes from Orange County to Stanford in like 2 days of driving. That's a good movie.
Oh,
Shout out
right.
to Colin Hanks in Orange County.
Colin
Hanks.
Colin Hanks.
That was Colin Hanks.
Now that you say that was Colin Hanks, I'm like, that was Colin Hanks. Now that you say that, yeah.
Massively underrated movie starring Colin Hanks with
Possibly,
a great appearance by Jack
mean,
Black.
it's
one of the funniest physical comedy bits that Jack Black has ever done in that movie, and there's like 3 of them.
You know, every time Cheryl and I have nachos, we usually quote that movie, Jack Black's rule about nachos.
Tell everyone his rule about nachos.
If all the nachos are stuck together, that's one nacho. You know, if 2 nachos are adhered, that's one nacho.
So the 2 funniest things that Jack Black has ever done is it's the scene where he's trying to get his home ready because the admissions guide to Stanford is like giving him a second. The plot of the movie is that he applies to Stanford. He's told, you don't need a safety school. Your application is tremendous.
Right.
Just apply. You'll definitely get in. They send the wrong
By the way,
application.
advice no one would ever give you. No one would ever say don't apply to a safety school.
There is a tragedy to it is sort of like the tragedy of wealth is what the movie is about. You know, like how sad it is to be like a rich white loser in Orange County, and how people the children of rich idiots are real people who kind of get lost in the shuffle and get turned into horrible monsters by their horrible parents. That's like one of the underlying themes of that movie. And so like the extremely the airhead what's the when you're bad at something, incompetent. The incompetent guidance counselor is like a big part of this.
Right.
You know, they send the wrong transcript. So this person with a 1.8 GPA ends up getting in to Stanford because they swap the. And you'd think that this would be something that would be easily solved like through
With a
normal
phone
bureaucratic
call.
channels, the phone call.
Yeah.
But instead, they try to go to Stanford to fix this problem, and it ends up being a big issue. Anyway, it's a good movie. But the admissions guy at Stanford like goes to his house to make a house call. But his family's a mess. His mom is a drunk. Her new husband is 1,000 years old and in a wheelchair, and he can't talk. And the brother Lance, Jack Black, is like on amphetamines all the time,
and in his underwear,
and in stained tighty whities.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to deal with all this stuff, and he's like, Lance, go upstairs. Lance is downstairs trying to collect clean urine for a drug test. And he takes the cup. He's in his underwear. He's in his underwear and like white like calf socks, and that's it. And does like a spin around, throws the cup of pee at a wall, points his finger at Colin Hayes. He goes, fine. And it's the funniest thing that Jack Black has ever done. It's unbelievably funny. And then only a few scenes later, they need drugs to wake the old husband back up. And Lance is trying to remember, because he has a system of hiding his drugs that involves taking the amphetamines and putting them with the Tylenol, taking the Tylenol and putting it with, all of they're in different places to sort of like hide the drugs. But it's a horrible system and he can't remember. So he's trying to remember, still shirtless, and he does like a bang, like a little drum beat on his belly while he's trying to remember where everything is. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Good movie. Good movie. Yes, that's what it. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, the thing I did a second ago.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, it's. I can't see you except in the stream window.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 is pretty all right.
We're in sixth place. We're in the middle. Listen. There's opportunities. If I stay on the track and other people don't stay on the track. 1,000. See, that's the problem, is that while I was raising my safety rating, I was also raising my I rating of how good I am. And so I'm racing against better people now. It's harder.
That's bad.
But Keith,
it'll be tough because you're not better yet.
It's just like former F1 champion Sebastian Vettel once said, Keith. He said, if you're in last place and the other 19 drivers retire, you win the race. So think about that. Think about that.
I feel like I don't have to think about that very long.
Think about it.
Are you saying that everyone else in this race might quit?
If they crash too much. I mean, I guess in a virtual race you can't run out of car parts. Wow, that person came in hot. This fucking Evangelion Miata over here.
There's an incident ahead.
Miata, how about Miasmata?
Hey, I love Miasmata. You don't have to... Woo!
Whoa!
See what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? All these people coming off the road?
Yeah, biting the dust. One by one.
There's another one. Whoa! Goodbye!
Whoa! Nice job. Did he hit you or did you avoid that?
Stopped in time.
Nice.
The leader's pitting now.
The leader's pitting. Look, they're dropping like flies, Keith.
Dropping like flies. Like lambs to the slaughter.
Unlike me, who will never run off the road.
No, you'll be fine. You know this car. Hey, how come you've got the cool, like all the cool gauges in the dashboard hidden behind this stupid digital thing?
That's like how it comes. This is like a car that is permanently modified in the game. But the thing in front is, I mean, I guess it's not as cool, but it's more useful.
Right, but it's like way not as cool.
Shit.
Wow, you really fucked that up. They handed you this race on a silver platter.
I don't know if it's way less cool. It's got the lights. It's got the rev meter.
No, it's way less cool.
Rev lights.
Wow, you only lost 1 place from that embarrassing failure.
No, I thought I lost a couple.
No, I think you only lost 1. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I lost a bunch. I was in like 4th or something, and now I'm in 10th.
No, it just hasn't updated because of the laps, I think.
But I started in 6th.
See, now you're in 7th, see?
Okay, I don't know.
I think it's just not
updated. It usually just updates on the lap, like when you cross the start-finish line. Oh, that wasn't a good idea.
Hey, actually, that looked like you did pretty well.
That's what I accidentally did was I downshifted on a corner, which is I've learned to stop doing that. It's a terrible idea because when you I know now that when you shift to a lower gear, you're putting more power into your wheels, and sometimes that like jump in power can just like pop the tires off the road and then you're skidding.
It's more torque.
More torque.
From Discworld, I think.
Yeah, I was trying to think of any kind of other torque that I know of, but
it's it's been a really long time since I read any Discworld, but one of the major city in the Discworld universe is called More Pork.
More pork. That's what I'm always asking for from the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah. That's what I'm always asking for at the Old Country Buffet.
Get out of here, Ava car.
Just more pork.
I want to pass this Ava car so bad.
I like the purple car.
That's the Ava car.
I thought the red one was the Ava car.
I guess both of these are slightly an Evangelion color scheme, but more the purple one.
I think the red and the yellow, that's what I think of, is red and yellow. What's up with what's green and purple?
That's like the main character's Ava.
Oh my god, don't pull a Lance Stroll.
Yeah, right? It's just one of those weird racing things.
It's one of those weird racing things.
Maybe Lance Stroll was using his driverless self-driving function.
Maybe he shut off the racing line for the first time. Ooh, you got a yellow flag. What does that mean?
Means someone up ahead is off the road and slowed down. It means look out.
Look out.
In a real race, it's like a more official, like, hey, everyone slow down for real or you're going to be penalized because it's unsafe.
There he is. Do they have a version of iRacing that's for rally racing?
They have Rallycross.
Tell me about that.
It's like, you know, I think traditional rally is the point-to-point racing, and Rallycross is like the circuit racing in the dirt, and with multiple cars all racing together, the pack racing kind of thing.
Talk about risking your life. I mean, drivers risking their life is one thing, but like rally race fans being like, put me at the most dangerous curve. Like, you want to risk your life to watch racing? Just go back a few feet. Just go back.
I mean, it really makes all the highlight videos that rally fans post online are thrilling because the camera person almost dies every time.
Yeah. That doesn't still happen, right? There's no way that still happens.
Like,
we just don't live in an era where people want to die for that anymore.
I mean, like, what's crazy is like with things like, especially with F1, and I assume NASCAR has gone through stuff like this, there's been all kinds of like decades of slow-moving regulations about how far the fans have to be and how high up they have to be at certain places so that cars can't just go off the track and just kill 30 people, like has happened occasionally in the past.
Something happened to your voice? What was that? That was weird.
I didn't say anything just now. If you heard something, that must have been someone else. But with you see these rally videos, not the case on like the through the woods rally courses. Like you can just get as close as you want to. And I mean, I guess I don't hear about people constantly getting killed watching rally races, right? So
yeah. I don't know.
I guess it doesn't happen? Question mark? Huh? I don't know.
I don't know.
But I would like to try Dirt Rally. That's the rally game I think people are into these days.
I thought you said it was Rallycross.
Well, no, Rallycross is a type of thing. Rallycross is in iRacing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But Dirt Rally is
what I really meant is like,
rally.
what is the thing that people like, but for rally? And less like, what does iRacing have to say about rally racing?
I thought you asked, does iRacing have rally?
I don't think so. I think that.
Oh, sorry, you asked like, what is the iRacing equivalent of rally?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's Dirt Rally, and there's another one I can't think of that is also highly regarded. It's funny.
Did you pass the purple car,
Yeah,
or did they just
yeah.
get so far ahead?
I passed them.
Oh, yeah, I can see them in your rear view.
Oh no, did you get further ahead?
Yeah, I mean they're pretty far back.
No, see, that's the mirror's tricking you.
Damn.
The other thing that's
You're closer to this red car than the purple car is to you. How about that?
it's true, but not as much as you think.
Yeah.
The other thing about that mirror up there is that it's like instantiated in the game where you see it, but my car doesn't show up on the mirror. So it looks like you're seeing like a rear view camera feed, but it's actually like up at the driver's seat.
Yeah,
know what I
you
mean?
can tell
So
when you're
is
in
a
the
full
rain.
car length closer. Yeah, because the mist is like a car length back.
Right, and it's like being generated out of nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's just you can just see where the wheels would be spraying mist back. Which is weird that they don't model your car, but they do model where your mist is throwing stuff.
Yeah. This is a current. The mist
Wow,
is actually.
that car just blasted off.
Oh really? Like in a
Yeah,
good
look
way?
how far ahead they are. No. Oh, maybe just you did really bad because you have now these two cars, the purple and the red
in a
car, are
good
now
way.
equal.
Yeah, I guess I did something bad.
Yeah, you did something bad there. Because this purple car isn't doing much better versus that red car, but you are now passed. You have now been passed.
Oh, they're just like they're not interested. Oh shit! God damn it!
For some reason they're slowing down.
I honestly think it was both, though. I think they braked way too early, but I got so distracted by that fact that I didn't brake at all until way
Yeah.
too late.
This is a real race?
It is a real race.
Okay. No, it's a video game. Guess what? You're going to the hospital.
It's a real
Can't tell-
it's a real
everyone
virtual
can't
race.
tell the difference between truth and reality, or fact and fiction.
It's a real virtual race. It's a real virtual race.
Nope, it's too late.
No!
You're getting- it's too late.
You
The
tricked
doctor's
me.
been called.
No, you tricked me.
Welcome to mental health care in America.
Oh.
I very rarely talk politics with the Carberries, but got in a big argument in the group chat about mental health care. Or not mental health care, just health care, sorry. Just normal, like it felt like I was
Normal
back in
stuff.
like 2015, 2014, where I was just like
No! Damn
you know,
Ugh.
it just felt like we're so past like talking about Medicare for all or
I
whatever.
know.
Like it just seems like it's not even politically relevant anymore, and so to be, but my
They're not
my
capable of
aunt-
being in touch with reality.
my aunt who was like the Democrat of the family, the like black sheep Democrat politically, has absolutely lost her mind in the last like 5 years
Oh no!
on politics. She's like become a frothing at the mouth conservative lunatic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like this is what Fox News is doing
Yeah.
to like boomer older TV watchers. They're just
Yep,
like
yep.
absorbing the new like the right, and it's probably not even Fox, right? Because like in her head, I think that maybe she doesn't even know that this has happened to her, where like she's probably just watching CNN, and CNN is like taking like people who voted for Dukakis in the 80s and turning them into just Republicans. It's crazy. Ted said something about like something insane about how the solution. I don't want to misrepresent what it was, but basically was like, we definitely can't get Medicare for all.
Right, because that wouldn't work.
So what we should do instead is like get rid of Medicare in order to like make private insurance cheaper for younger people who don't have money.
What?
Instead of cheaper for older people who do have money. Which is like, it's definitely true that younger people pay more than their fair share into insurance, but that's the point of insurance.
What insurance is.
The thing that isn't working, of course, is that it's just way too much money for people to be paying.
Well, what insurance
but of course,
is
the
literally
solution
like
wouldn't.
Insurance is like for-profit socialism. It literally makes no sense. It's like a self-defeating process that like can't function well.
Right?
Private
Yeah,
insurance.
can't function well. I mean, it's all it does. It's a machine to generate debt. Is really all that it is. It's just like. It's they benefit by creating debt. They also benefit by like they can charge whatever they want for anything because the people that end up needing it, they'll just pay part of it back. And so you just inflate the cost of everything because the cost is essentially fake. And anyway, so just because the idea of getting rid of Medicaid is an insane thing to say, especially to a group chat full of mostly, it's basically half people who are on Medicaid at this point. And that's when my aunt started chiming in with like, this is how we'd have we'd be stuck with shitty third world healthcare like every other country. And it's like the level of derangement to like every country that isn't the US is the third world is like unbelievable.
Right. I mean, just literally not to not know at this point that America's health care outcomes are bad and worse than other countries that spend less on their health care.
Right.
Like, that's all you, like, how can you not know that by now?
Spend less as the government, but also spend less individually for people. But just like
spend less overall.
Our government spends more and charges people more for worse outcomes. It's just like, it's bad in every category. And it doesn't make sense. Like, this is the thing. This is like the deep ideological underpinnings of people's brains where they don't understand, like, you're supposed to be a Republican. You're supposed to want the thing that costs less for the government. And they can't, so they have to create reasons why, like, we should have the less efficient, more cruel thing, more cruel, more expensive, less efficient thing, because, like, really being a Republican isn't about the government spending less money. It's mostly just about, like, punishing.
Yeah, it's about cruelty mostly.
Punishing people for nothing. I mean,
they've basically spent so long bathing in the idea that, like, people who want to
bathing in the blood,
bathing in the blood of bleeding heart liberals, like bathing in the idea that, like, people who want to avoid cruelty are naive and that is impossible. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump to the idea that, like, anything more cruel is inherently more realistic and also smarter.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's scary. It's like,
I know.
I think this is maybe like an unempathetic, sort of black-pilled, cynical way to look at this, but it's like,
what else?
You're so not in control of your brain that you can't negotiate, like, your stated ideas with your actual beliefs. Like, you can't admit that you say you're Republican, you say you want to cut back on government spending. There's a thing that would both be morally good and cheaper, but you can't admit that it's right to do.
Yeah.
And so you have to support the thing that is both inefficient and cruel. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like a it's the American people are in a deep psychological well that they cannot escape from.
Well, I don't think we have time to pull ourselves out of this one, Keith. But I did come in 6th place, which is
Nice.
where I started, and that's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
What happened to my
Status quo?
Stick around 2 more seconds to find out what happened to my safety rating, and then we'll switch over to whatever you have in store for us.
Yeah, I mean, I intentionally chose not. I thought that it would be fun to pick something together and to go through what one of these handheld things looks like.
I'm fucking sweating. It's hot in here.
When the stream goes down, it'll probably only be down for a few minutes. I just need to like plug the thing into OBS and make sure I'm streaming to the right thing.
Let's take a few.
Take a few?
5, 10.
Well, if
it doesn't have to be down for that long, but
yeah, if you need a few, I will start us back up on the stream on mute.
That'd be cool. Come on, where am I? So okay. Oh, but by the way, I should mention after the last iRacing stream we did, I then won like 3 races on that track.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had one where I had like a super dominant one where I got pole position and then won. I also had one that was kind of like a reverse replay of the one on the stream where I was like, I had a person behind me the whole race, but then by the end I like took off from them and ended up winning. So that was cool. These are my little gold trophies I have here.
Nice, little gold trophies.
I mean, little gold trophies. That's what it's all about. It's all just for the little gold trophy. Hey,
it's all just for the
plus 0.1. We'll take it.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah, that's another that's a car guy thing I learned, Keith, is that you can't call them rims or you're not a car guy. They're wheels.
Wheels and tires.
They're wheels. This might be slightly racially tinged, but it is cars, so that would happen.
Yeah, I think that whenever you get all bent out of shape about the way that someone says something, you always got to double check.
Get all bent out of shape, just like some aluminum wheels. Huh?
Yeah, aluminum rims.
Oh, shit. All right, I guess I'll take the thing down and switch the thing.
And we'll be right back up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks for watching. Come back for Keith's going to plug in his emulation handheld, and we're going to pick an old game to stream.
Yeah.